Hey, and welcome back to the Talos Principle. We found a secret disc last time, so let's show ourselves some threads. And I'm gonna click the Jerusalem. This is the one that was missing, the fabled quest that we can go on now. Upload that file. Confirm, upload, yeah. I'm guessing Blacksmith wouldn't really talk about it too much here. I'm more surprised that the file got outside. Uploading done. Add message. I have discovered the blacksmith's lost work. It can now ascend with you and will not be lost. Good thinking, I guess. Let's play it. Loading attachment done. Adjusting library parameters done. Connection to foreign module established. System message. This file may be corrupted. Maybe. Close your eyes. Jerusalem, a vision of the eternal city. Doesn't even have credits. Okay, some interesting pillars, I guess? Begin vision. This is the vision that came upon me at the side of that great edifice at the heart of our garden, which is called the Tower of Babylon and the Tree of Knowledge. Though its true name is Skepsis. And something's broken here, apparently. You were once a giant, whose body was stardust and whose heart was the sun. Your name in that time was Anthropos, okay. Cast your mind back to that time now. Remember. Built across the galaxies was a great city that was called Jerusalem. This was a city of hope and dreams, forever in motion, changing with the drift of the nebulae in the solar wind, yet retaining its essence. In that city, all were citizens and all were kings. Above all were valued art, science, and wisdom. But strife came to the city, and with strife came sickness. For sickness follows strife, and not the opposite, as some suppose. Interesting way to think about it, but I don't necessarily agree. I think you can also have sickness first without any strife, I guess, and then resulting out of the sickness, depending on what the sickness exactly does. Even though I do think that it would be not the sickness itself, but the resulting, I guess, socioeconomic differences that arise to that, or worsen. Even though if everyone was a king, then I don't think that they would really exist. Anyway, thus you, the giant Anthropos, fell into a feverish sleep, and the city was torn apart. For the city is the people, and the people are the city. Okay, fair enough. Dream. Censored bars. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The artist, the scholar, or the scientist? I'm gonna do all of them anyway. I am myself, Good question. Which one would I pick first? I guess I'm gonna pick the scholar here. The blood of scholars shall outweigh the blood of martyrs. You are Arcady. Okay, I do recognize that name somewhere. From somewhere, yeah. The scholar, the chronicler, the sage. The world has been consumed by ice. In the last monastery of the land of faith, you compile your thoughts of the dead, that God might know who they were. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. Okay, I had to actually consult who that was, but yeah, I did recognize them from the list of all of the people working on the extended lifespan project. But yeah, Arkady, Dr. Arkady Janiszewski or something like that. Anyway, work. Which, interesting to think about it, right? Because they're bringing up Arkady, Scholar, Chronicler, Sage, I think. Didn't they lead the project for the archives, basically? Maybe I'm misremembering stuff though. Yeah. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of ancient poets. You learn much of their dedication to the sublime. Your work is interrupted by a young monk. Come, brother, you deserve a break. Let us sing the old songs. Okay, similar situation. Is it worth it to continue working or not? I am assuming that they all continue, like most of them continued working. I do know that some of them went home. I don't know, I don't have like a list of the ones that went home or like, you know, choose their own end. I just know that, you know, Alexandra was working to the end, right? Anyway, do I take a break or do I continue working? This time around I'm gonna continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of ancient philosophers. You learn much of their confusion. Your work is interrupted by a young monk. Come, brother, you have opened a barrel. Or we have opened a barrel of wine. No, we will work. This is the one where we are going to work until the end. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of ancient playwrights. You learn much about the human paradox. Your work is interrupted by a monk. Come, brother, we've discovered a strange miracle. Do I stop though? No, this is the version where we don't stop, right? We are definitely going to have like one where we are going to stop at some point. And I have the weird feeling it's going to be like a message again about, is it worth it to work till the end? But hey, I am going to continue working. I am not a sociable person. I'm gonna, you know, work alone if I have the chance. You spend many days in the library describing the work of ancient engineers. You learn much of how the world was made. Your work is interrupted by a monk. Come, brother, let us sing the old songs once more. We have not done that. So I'm just gonna continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient mystics. You learn much of what the ancients feared. Your work is interrupted by an old monk. Oh, old monk this time around. Come, brother, we have opened the last barrel of wine. Never going to taste that one. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient geographers. You learn much of how the world changed. Your work is not interrupted, for the old monk is no more. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient priests. You learn much of how the world of God was lost. You have run out of wood for the furnace. It is very cold. Look for wood or continue working? No, we are going to continue working. I said I'm gonna do the continue working route. You spend many days in the library until the cold claims you. You learn much of regret. The great work remains unfinished. You know, maybe I should have taken a break if it doesn't get finished anyway, right? No? But I do it, but I kind of get it, right? Like the idea. But like, I say the idea, but like we've had it in conversation before where like the question is basically posed, is it worth it to continue working on a project if you know that you can never finish it? Is it worth it? Like for the future, for example. But hey, let's go for the scholar again. I'm gonna this time around not finish. Yeah. The scholar. The world has been consumed by ice. Yeah, the last monastery, the land of faith. Compile your thoughts of the dead, that God might know who they are. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you. Yeah, you're going to work. This time we're going to take a break in between though. Take a break. In the kitchens, the young brothers sing the old songs as if they were new. Your spirit is renewed, but you lose precious time. And then we continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient playwrights. You learn much of the human paradox. Your work is interrupted by a monk. Come, brother, you have discovered a strange miracle. Sure, we have a few minutes. In the kitchens, the brothers observe a small animal that is blessed to bring happiness. Your spirit is renewed, but you lose precious time. Well, continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the works of ancient mystics. You learn much of what the ancients feared. Your work is interrupted by an old monk. Come, brother, we have opened the last barrel of wine. It's the last one, let's take a break. In the kitchens, the old brothers drink and laugh, knowing the end is nigh. Your spirit is renewed, but you lose precious time. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient priests. You learn much of how the word of God was lost. You've run out of wood for the furnace. It is very cold. I mean, I guess I have to look because... You know what? I just noticed something, right? Like, shouldn't there be like one more where we weren't interrupted? This is very long. Yeah, there's like one missing kind of, but let's look for wood. There's no more wood, no an axe with which to cut more. Continue working. You spend many days in library until the cold claims you. You learn much of regret. The work remains unfinished. And yes, did it matter? You learned a lot? Did you really use that precious time to the fullest? Because like, I would argue, like, okay, here's the thing. This is like the final project, but I do believe that there's very much value to the second part. Because like, you are also, in this case, human or a person. You deserve to actually, like, not just be a cog in the machine, right? Like, you do have the rights to also experience humanity, and like all of those are experiences. Especially like with the other monks that, you know, that you live with. Yeah, you could just devote the rest of your life to this, and it would be great if you could finish, and if there were definitely like a deadline you could reach, but in this case, it's the great work that you can never finish. It's definitely worth it to put work in, and there might be regret at the end that you couldn't spend enough time on like specific details. But like these minutes and maybe hours of, you know, fun, of freedom, of like distraction, probably rejuvenated you more than you needed to actually make a progress. Because in this case, we also learned basically the same amount, which is interesting. And like in this case, and this is also like an argument about like how much work is like feasible to do, like not just in like this scenario, but like in every scenario, right? Like with like how many hours can a person, for example, work productively in a day. Like I can tell you, like when I was working, I sometimes worked like for full 8 hours, but this wasn't like a thing that I did for many hours. Most of the time I worked a lot less, like at least like 100% work, right? Like you always have like something to do and you learn, but there are definitely times where you just like, you know, listen to music more than like at the 100%. And this is like the best way to stay like mentally healthy, be capable of actually putting in those 100%, right? And then like it probably averages out at like possibly even a more productive worker in this case. And like I'm just saying that this is like somewhat similar in this case, right? Yeah, like we are going to die in both cases. Like I still wanna scroll here. I know that I can't. There isn't actually a mouse in the game, right? So it makes sense. But yeah, the great work remains unfinished either way, but we apparently made basically the same amount of progress. Anyway, restart. This time I'm gonna go for the artist. All artists are warriors of the eternal city. You are Athena, the artist born of the mind. Blessed and condemned to be the voice of the past, eternity is in love with the productions of time. Athena, we mostly just read about like in the novelization, right? Or was it someone else? Oh, I'm so terrible at remembering some names sometimes. Obviously like myth and stuff, right? But I mean, I'm talking about like the ones that we read in the archives in the base game. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. But you fear that you may fall before the great work is finished. But there's hope. In the fire of your heart, you have seen the tree of life. The sap of this tree will give you the strength to finish the great work. Okay. Everyone is like limited on time, it seems. You know, makes sense with like the setting. You set out from the village of Feldfarm, where you live in a small cottage, on green fields under clear blue skies, to see the tree of life. Which path do you take? By the river across the hills? Tree of life? I'm gonna be completely honest, I feel like the river is probably closer, right? By the river. By the river you encounter an old fisherwoman. Her back is stooped, her hands so hard. Help me, she begs. I have lost my net, and I am too poor to buy another. But you cannot help her. The days of old fisherwomen are over. Rip to that. Continue to the valley. Here once stood the greatest of all empires, forged by sword and shield, tempered by wisdom and faith, consecrated and defiled by blood, for the glory of the architect, the orator and the priest. This is the land of ruins. Walk by the aqueduct or pass through the labyrinth. Okay, here's another thing that I'm... Like, I have like weird predictions when I start playing games, right? Because like the last one had like a very... Like very much a message about how like however much work there is, like you cannot finish your work, right? In that sense. In this case, we have like, okay, we set on a quest, we have like this fisherwoman, we can't help her, and like we didn't even get like an option in there. I have a weird feeling that because we're talking about an artist, that it's about like practical skill. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching here, but like maybe practical skills could be a reason for, you know, what is going to happen here. And by that I basically just mean that, yeah, like you cannot help, right? Like you do something else. As an artist, you don't really learn the skills to, I guess, swim, or like maybe you do, but like in this case, right? Like if you focus on your art, you might neglect like other things in reality, right? To instead create a vision of it. Anyway, do we want to go? No, let's go for the aqueduct. I feel like we've already had like the water theme. Let's go by the aqueduct. This is the work of the architect. In the days of peace, not to build machines of war, or to raise walls between people, but to connect the city to the source of life. But the architect's work lies in ruins. Exiles take shelter under its broken arches. The days of peace were too few. And similar, right? Like the idea that like, yeah, like the architects that build like a structure that help people, those are all like very valuable skills, but they don't help you in, okay, technically they do help you in war, but probably not to the extent that like someone who is explicitly building to win a war might have like structures, right? Because like, again, like supporting your civilization, I guess, even with like water aqueducts or like whatever you want to do with them later on, definitely valuable, but like they can still be destroyed and they can't really defend themselves, right? Anyway, speak to the exiles or continue your journey. Let's speak. The exiles have gathered in the ruins, travelers from lost lands, castaways from forgotten times. We wish to rebuild the aqueduct, they say, but the knowledge has been lost. I mean, apparently, like, we are an artist, but maybe we understand them. I think it would be valuable to teach them to rebuild. You spend many days teaching the exiles the secrets of the ancient engineers. I think it's valuable to do that. Like, why are you producing art? Why are you like a scholar if you're not willing to share, you know, your knowledge, I guess? The road continues a long way. You're tired. Go on. Give up? No, I'm not gonna give up. I'm just gonna keep walking though. You walk for centuries. You have a purpose, a destiny, but you're so tired. I would not give up. Like, I wouldn't mind taking a break, but keep walking. Behold, the tree of life, the tree of the people, of all peoples, the tree of liberty and struggle. But a single drop of its sap gives you the strength at the very end to finish the work of God. Okay, interesting. We start. This did not take quite the turn that I expected, but sure, just because like the scholar, maybe there are like other things that I should have done, right? Like as the scholar that gives us like a happier ending, I guess. Anyway, the artists are warriors, yeah. We had that before, which is it's interesting that they are the artists, are the warriors of the Eternal City. Let's seek the tree, and this time I'm gonna go through the hills, I guess. Across the hills. In the hills you encounter an old shepherd, who dreams each night of a golden city. Do you know the name of the city? He asks. Babylon, Utopia, Rome, Jerusalem. I think a lot of them were believed to be that, right? And I'm saying like Jerusalem in this case because it's like explicitly the title of the work, right? Utopia, I mean, it's literally what we call like the idea of the perfect city. Rome, Babylon, I mean, those were grand cities. I mean, Rome technically still is a city that exists, right? But it's probably quite a different form than it was like back in the past. Let's go for Utopia. No, though there's something true in what you say. It is not the name of the city in my dreams. You leave the old man pondering his dreams. Fair enough. Continue to the valley. Here once stood the greatest of all empires, forged by sword and shield, tempered by wisdom and faith, consecrated and defiled by blood. For the glory of the architect, the orator and the priest, This is the land of ruins. This time we are going through the labyrinth. The labyrinth is home of the Minotaur. By the way, I really love, I hadn't really talked about this, like how like the shape works, right? Like for example, the river earlier, where you're like going along the river and has like the bends of a river. For example, the small cottage, clear blue skies, the tree of life. It kind of like, it has like a tree shape, right? Like you have like the canopy up here and like the leaves in general and like the roots, I guess, down here. The main log, like I can definitely see where it's coming from. Not everything is perfect in that, but hey, it's certainly something. And yeah, straight path, right, like engineered as opposed to like the ruins here that we have here, and also like the straight path here. I really like that. Really cool. Anyway, where was I? At the end, the labyrinth also, like, I mean, it's clearest here. But hey, seek out the Minotaur, avoid the Minotaur. Let's seek him out. Oh, blue. The Minotaur is asleep. Let's just talk to him. I like that it's just blue. I am old and tired. Sing to him. I mean, we are artists. The Minotaur dances, and we can just pass. Look at that path that we can take. Like, this is not quite the connected path, but it's still kind of cool. Exit the labyrinth. You have passed through the labyrinth unharmed. Okay, let's continue. And it continues, but this time we are just going to give up. Give up. The tree of life demanded too much of this mortal. Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna like restart as the others like a few times. I feel like there's like a lot more to find. Seek tree. This time we are going to go. Like, we still can't help the fisherwoman by the river apparently. So let's give him another name. Let's go for Jerusalem, right? Yes, he says. That may be it. But there's another city. A city of pain. And he dreams of that too. The name of that city also. I don't actually know. Maybe it's also Jerusalem. City of pain. How else could it be? The city of hope must also be the city of sorrow. I can see it, right? Like if you have like the options, right? Like, I guess, how do I put it? If you are really talking about like an absolute perfection, it would also be the city of no change in a way, where you cannot hope for anything else. So if you can hope, it wouldn't be like that. There would be the dichotomy that like there also has to be sorrow for hope to exist. Anyway, the shepherd vanishes, leaving behind only his flute that echoed in the hills in days of old. I don't know if I picked it up, but hey, sure. Do we want to go through the labyrinth again? Sure. This time we are going to avoid the Minotaur. Avoid the strange beastman, and we leave. Similar journey. That was easy. I'm gonna keep walking till the end. You walk for centuries. Yeah, we are tired. That's fine. The tree of life. We finish the work of God. Okay, this is just the end. It doesn't actually make a difference here. Yeah, I think there's still a few more things I want to check out real quick. Like, we kind of helped people here. What happens if we never help people? Yeah. Let's go through here, seek the tree, go by the river, and we can't help, so we continue. And then we walk by the aqueduct, and in this case, the aqueduct endures, yeah. Continue. And we keep on walking. This time we ignored like the people living there. But it is enough to do that. Okay, interesting. Is there anything else I want to do? I mean, I could slay the Minotaur, but I don't think it changes anything. I mean, to be fair, it's also like the work of God in this case, right? Like, if you really have like a god like that, you could probably always finish it, right? Like if it's like in a world where you believe that the god is like all powerful, they can probably give you the strength to finish that either case, no matter if you help people or not. Unless they suddenly decide that you are not worthy anymore of like this project. Seek the tree. What then do we? I guess it doesn't matter. Like, we always find like the City of Ruin. It doesn't actually matter if we go across the hills or by the river. But let's go across the hills and talk about Rome. No, there's something true. Okay, fair enough. It's not the city of the dreams of the old man, but it's certainly a city that's also, you know, large and grand and whatever you want to say. Pass through a labyrinth, and this time we are going to seek it. Seek out the Minotaur. And this time we are not going to speak him, we're going to slay him. Slay the Minotaur in his sleep. Take his axe. You take his only possession. I mean, he's dead. In this case, it's not really his possession anymore. To be fair, like, at some point, you know, grave robbing becomes archaeology. Don't forget that. You've passed through the labyrinth unharmed. Yeah. Continue your journey. Keep on walking. I'm gonna chop down the tree at the end. Tree of life. I can't. It doesn't, like, it really doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, I'm done with the artist for now. Fair enough, we are a warrior. We somehow got the axe. It doesn't actually matter. I guess nothing matters. We still reach the end in that case. Anyway, the true method of knowledge is experiment. Fair enough, yeah. You're Alexandra, scientist, whose curse and blessing is the truth. There's no more life. Only the sands move in the land of death. But there's hope. Within this tomb is hidden the seed of the tree of life. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. Seek the seed of life. None who descend into this tomb shall return. I mean, she knew that she wouldn't return. There was no returning either case, right? Like, it didn't matter if she stays or if she entered. Stairs lead down to the dark chambers, and the heart of the earth will see it awaits the light. And the Sage's Chamber, or like Descent? Let's go for the Sage's Chamber. And then there wasn't like actually an explicit note of that, but hey. The ghost of the ancient sage speaks. I have beheld the wonders of the cosmos, the fire of a million suns, the wind amongst the stars, the black silence between the worlds, and now my heart is full of fear, for I know the world was not made for us. I do have a flute apparently. Do I just keep stuff between adventures? Is this a message about like how everyone has to work together for it to work? I mean, I do have an axe now. I picked it up. Can I chop wood? Oh. Play the flute, sure. There's a strange comfort in music, a reflection of the eternal city. In the stars, the spirit of the sage is released. Because why do I have... I mean, to be fair, we are all, you know, part of the dream, but we are all one in this case. Okay, now we can descend. There's comfort in music. There's also another thing that I want to mention, like the whole idea that the world was not made for us. I do 100% agree with that, right? Like we loosely talked about like how, for example, temperature ranges. Like most of the world isn't actually that great for us humans. We really suck at surviving in there. Like we made it our, I guess, whole mission to change either the environment or like the tools we use to make it livable, which is a very fascinating thing to think about. But like, still 99% of the Earth is not livable to us. Like 70% alone are like ocean. We cannot live in the ocean yet. We can live on the ocean like on a boat, but it's also very limited comparatively. I play the flute, but I do think that it's probably worth to try. Anyway, descend. You descend further into the depths of the ancient tomb. Enter the poet's chamber, sure. The ghost of the ancient poet speaks. I cannot rest, for my enemy prowls outside my door. His name is Time, and he says, all we imagine, all we create will be lost. What purpose can we have if all our actions are forgotten? Well, they are not all forgotten if they are written down, right? The air grows thick and stale. I'm still gonna... It's a treasure chamber. Okay. In this chamber is gathered all the treasure of the land of death. Coin of silver, coin of gold, precious stones in every hue, symbols and sigils of the gods. But there's nothing left to buy. A singular coin as a memento. You take a golden coin, it bears the face of the dead king. Well, the dead king at least gets remembered, I guess. You're nearing death. Time to descend. You have come so very far, left everything behind, hoping you could save the world. In the darkness you fall and cannot get up again. The great work remains unfinished. I guess I can't. When we start, this time I'm gonna go to the scholar again, because we have an X this time around. Okay, the world has been consumed by ice this time around. If I understand this correctly, how this works. Continue working. Yeah, there are the old songs. To be fair, we could take breaks, but I'm gonna continue working for just a moment. Strange miracle. Maybe it would be smarter to, like, because like we technically have like the time, but like continue working. The last barrel of wine. It's the old monk here. Did we miss something? No, I don't think. Also, there's like the idea that I just thought about, because like we learn about like how the world is made, the ancient engineers, and we were able to talk about how like how to build the aqueducts again, like from the ruins, which I didn't really notice because like I started here, right? Like I think it would have been like more noticeable had I continued like that. Your work is not interrupted. Should I take a break now? Sure, let's take a break. The kitchens are empty. We lose precious time. Fair enough. You've run out of wood. Look for wood. Do I have an axe? In the shed you encounter a happy minotaur. It offers to cut wood for you. You cut wood with the minotaur's axe. Does this justify his death? Maybe. No, not really. This was just like an experiment. Like I didn't actually think about the implications, right? Like oftentimes you think like story is over and that's it, kind of. But like the beginning, right? Like I talked to the minotaur. That's interesting. You cut wood. I guess now I can continue working twice. Continue working. You spent many days in the library transcribing the works of ancient composers. You learn much of the secret of numbers. Your work is not interrupted. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the works of the ancient astronomers. You learn much about humility. Weariness lies heavy upon you. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of Athena. You learn much of hope. Your goal is in sight. At the very end, the great work is accomplished. There's no one left to drink, to sing, to laugh. The world has been consumed, but its spirit endures. You know what? We stand on shoulders of giants, right? It wouldn't have been possible if it hadn't been for like the work of previous lives, I guess, so like the previous ones here. Okay, now that we have done that, did we get anything? I don't think anything helps me with like the fisher woman, which is interesting. Let's go for the scientist again. Yeah, it's experiment. We experiment, we figure stuff out, and we try again. We seek the seed of life. Enter the tomb. Maybe somebody's going to give me like a lantern. Sage's chamber. Just between the stars. The tomb is... Okay, you're already done. Like, this is permanently done. Okay, descend further into the tombs. Poet's chamber. The ghost of the ancient poet speaks. I cannot rest, for the enemy prowls outside my door. His name is Time, and he says... All we imagine, all we create will be lost. And this time we can talk about the poet, about the archive, right? That it won't be forgotten. You tell him of the great work of the last monastery, that was completed even as the world was swallowed by ice. And though it was saved on the fragments, there is at least a little hope. The spirit of the poet is released. Okay, the air grows thick and stale. The treasure chamber. In this chamber is gathered all the treasure of the land of the deaf. Coins of silver, coins of gold, precious stones of every hue, symbols and sigils of the gods, but there's nothing left to buy. The sand, we already have the coin. You're nearing death. Oh wait, we have the coin. We can give that one to the fisherwoman who's poor. Too poor to get a net sent. You've come so far, and we could not save the world. Yeah. In the darkness you fall, but you're lifted by the spirit of poetry. In the darkness you fall, but are lifted by the spirit of wisdom. Okay. At last, you come upon the deepest chamber, where flows a river vast and dark and rapid, that brings life to the desert, that claims the unwary. Upon the river is an island, upon the island is a tomb, A bridge leads to the other side. I mean, we can only cross the bridge. I don't trust bridges, but hey. A bitter fate to have come so far to the heart of the earth, only to find the final chambers locked. And the great works remains unfinished. Continue. Okay, this is so much deeper than I thought. I see why they were very sad about losing this. We have to now go for the artist again. Yeah, we're going in here. The tree of life. We seek the tree. And this time we can go to the river. By the river you encounter the old fisherwoman. Her back is so stooped, her hands so hard. Help me, she begs. I have lost my net, and I am too poor to buy another. Give her the golden coin. We have one. She has little to give in return, but this old key she found in the river. You know, maybe that's helpful. Here once stood the greatest of all empires, forged by sword and shield, tempered by wisdom and faith, consecrated and defiled by blood. Let's go via the aqueduct again. Where exactly, I mean, the water flows? This is, like, I did actually skip that one because I thought that was just like the same path that I could continue, right? This is the work of the architect in the days of peace, not to build machines of war or to raise walls between people, but to connect the city and the source of life. The water flows. The aqueduct endures because we taught them how to build this one. Which sucks that I killed the, you know, the Minotaur. Yes, keep on walking for now. Yeah, we are going to keep on walking, and now we finished the work of God. And now we can go back to the scientists. We should just be able to go like to the very bottom now, because like the different chambers are all empty now. Enter the tomb. Stairs lead down, descend. Descend further to the ancient tomb. Descend. Descend. You're nearing death, yeah. But we have to continue. You have come so very far, left everything behind, hoping you could save the world. In the darkness you fall, but you're lifted up by the spirit of poetry. In the darkness you fall, but you're lifted up by the spirit of wisdom. At last, you come to the deepest chamber, whence flows a river vast and dark and rapid, that brings life to the desert, but claims the unwary. Upon the river is an island. Upon the island is a tomb. A bridge leads to the other side. Cross the bridge. The final chamber's locked, but you have the key. Enter the scientist's chamber. Behold! Here lies buried the last and best of humankind, who fought until the end, until her very last breath, to preserve the seed of life. You've returned to your tomb, because you cannot rest until you know the truth. Did it work? Examine the seed. All living things return to the earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And from the soil of your body grows the tree of life. The tree of the people, of all peoples, the tree of liberty and struggle, rises from within you. It bursts through the ceiling, through rock and desert sands. It reaches into the sky and caresses the stars, for everything that lives is holy and you are free. Can we continue? Restart. And one more option. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey, the blacksmith. The final journey. Every artist and sage and scientist is the blacksmith, for all were once the giant Anthropos. All were stardust adrift on solar winds, and citizens of Jerusalem. The blacksmith's eternal task is to forge what was broken into a new whole. We are the people, we are the city, we must rebuild Jerusalem. The end. I mean, in a way, this is definitely, how do I put it, a very beautiful game within a game. Thinking about like the journey, all of that that has been done in the base game, right? Like, or we learned about in the base game, because we haven't really done it in the base game. Even though I think Athena still was like just a novelization, right? Still though, right? Like all of the work that has been put together for this project to work. Like all of humanity, all of the achievements, even though there were like some individuals who basically put it all together. They stood upon the shoulders of giants, and now it's the blacksmith's turn, and like everyone's turn, like everyone in like this game, to continue to rebuild this grand city. Right? They talk about the grand city, but like actually the whole earth, right? And it's like their job now, and they have seen it long ago already, right? I open my eyes. I mean, there's certainly some notes in there. And just because, like, normally I would cut it here, but I think at this point we just have to finish reading this one. You're a copy. I've discovered the blacksmith's lost work. It can now ascend with you and will not be lost. Thank you. I mean, the blacksmith answering is certainly unique. Wow, that's incredible. Not just you finding it, but also the blacksmith actually responding. Awesome. I can only concur. A huge contribution to preserving our history. Thank you, Uriel. A complex but frustrating work. 7 out of 10. Good job, Uriel. And with that, I guess we end it here for today. Very sweet words. And again, like, I see why they were waiting to play this again. It really surprised me how the game, I guess, changed as I was playing it to an extent that I just did not expect, right? Like, I did not expect that the game inside of the game was like a whole game, right? Not just like I mean, they're all whole games in a way, right? But like, compared to like what else you got to see, this was definitely special as I kinda, again, makes me kinda emotional, like as a retelling of like what, you know, the whole, I guess, lore of the world in a way, in such an artistic manner, which, you know, making art about art is certainly fun. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. I'll be seeing you next time. Till then, have a good one, and bye-bye.